Would you have a relationship with an asexual person? Hi, I'm asexual, 19F, but I feel like everyone else is super concentrated on sex in general and I haven't met a single person who isn't. And now I am wondering what if I'll never find some who would be alright with me not wanting anything sex-related. This fear probability comes from my past relationships in which I realized that all of my partners wanted to be more intimate with me but I didn't, which created some sort of barrier between us. So, is there any chance I'll find someone?
Plenty of people who will be willing to let sex be a less central desire for them. But outside of actual asexuality, you'll struggle to find someone willing to forego it entirely.
No, get another asexual partner.
No. Unless you find an asexual partner. Or, a partner that you allow, and they agree, to have an outside the relationship sexual partner.
I do not know. Sex is an important part of life for me, but that may not be the case for everyone out there. If you have a great personality, surely you will find someone.
I personally wouldn't, only because I have an extremely high sex drive.
If you're completely averse to sex, then you'll struggle until you find someone else who feels the same. I appreciate that you can't really understand, but sex is an integral part of a relationship for most people. If you're willing to have sex a bit, then that will open up more possibilities, as there are, believe it or not, people who aren't totally obsessed with it. Either way, good luck, you'll be okay.
I wouldn't have a relationship with an asexual person purely because I am hypersexual, so it really just wouldn't work. I'm asexual, so yes I would. Nope, because I'm very not asexual. But I'm not everyone else, honey. You are not weird or broken, it's normal. A good friend of mine is asexual and she has been with her partner for 6 months happy together. There's gonna be a lucky person who's going to discover you and will be head over heels for you. It will be okay.
I definitely could not. However, isn't there a dating site for asexuals? I feel like someone mentioned it on another post. If not, just make sure and include it in your profile, because that's a really basic part of many romantic relationships.
For me personally, I feel that sex is an exceptionally important part of any relationship, and that a relationship cannot work in the long run if it is not a physical relationship. That doesn't mean that there aren't other aspects of a relationship that are equally important, but sex is up there near the top of the list. Others may disagree with me, and maybe you will find a person who feels that way, but I'm sorry to say, and I'm not saying this to be mean, but you're going to be finding it very hard to find someone who is going to want to be with you long term and never get to have sex with you. I am in troubled marriage, and one of the problems in my marriage is that my wife does not want to have sex very often, and while I do love her, and there are other problems besides that, it is certainly adding to the stress of the marriage.
Maybe date for a while and see how it goes, but likely not. I'm into fitness and it makes my libido go up. No, but I will have a relationship with someone with the opposite sex. Probably not, personally. I have pretty high libido and physical touch is definitely one of my love languages. I couldn't see myself, personally, being in a long-term relationship with an asexual person, as I know both of our needs will not be fulfilled. There are plenty of people though who will date an asexual person though, so don't let that bring you down. I did once. Neither of us knew about it until she had an awakening of sorts. It was a fucking disaster. I wanted sexy times, she did not. I was depressed and insecure anyway, and it just got worse. We were not a good match, I see that now.
I think an asexual works best with someone who is also asexual. One of the things I look for in a partner is sexual compatibility. Research says it's important in a successful relationship. I have a moderate sex drive, so being with an asexual person wouldn't set me up for success.
No, because I'm hypersexual, but it's not high priority for everyone. You'll just have a smaller pool. You're young and still have a great chance at finding a partner.
I would never date someone asexual, because sexual connection is a deep emotional connection I need. You probably need to find someone who is also asexual.
Not for me, but there is a chance, sure. Do yourself and a potential partner a favor and be upfront about it. I would. If it were open.
You'll find someone, honey. I saw a rather rude comment, but just know you'll find someone. There's someone there for everyone.
Yep, definitely. I am not asexual, but sex, as of right now, isn't much important to me in a relationship, so I would mind a partner that is asexual. No lie, there's this asexual at work and I would totally date them. However, I am looking at them from a heterosexual viewpoint, so why be in a relationship if you don't want to be at least a little intimate? To feel good you could be kissing and cuddling with someone, but at least that other person who you dislike isn't.
Yes. I don't think sex is very needed in relationships. Like, if someone needs sex to be with you, then it's not a healthy relationships. Emotional part is really important, more important than sex.
Combining an asexual person with someone who isn't asexual isn't a great recipe to facilitate lasting closeness. It will likely lead to misunderstanding, bitterness, and resentment. If you truly are asexual, your best bet would be to find a partner that is as well, or at least one that is very hyposexual. So the two natures mix. Disclaimer though, it may very well be that you aren't asexual. It's very early to make a deduction like that before your brain has even finished fully developing into the adult brain. Women likely become more sexually going towards their mid to late 20s into their 30s.
Instead of looking everywhere for another asexual, get a guy and let him sleep with other girls. He will have his fun and still be with you, for a time.
I am also asexual 17F, and I also feel the same say like you do. But, you know, maybe you can find somebody that understands the way you feel. For example, right now I have a girlfriend and she understands that I am asexual and we're doing pretty great. So I think yes, you eventually find someone.
Absolutely would. Sex isn't everything.
Yeah. I am 18F. Gender fluid asexual too, or I think I am. Sure, masturbating exists, but I don't think it'd be able to really have sex with anyone, and I am okay with that lol. Sex isn't that important to me.
I don't know about other people, but for me 16F personally, I'm more focused on the person themselves than their sexual interests. I would date an asexual person and had a huge crush on my asexual friend last year. For me, a relationship is the trust, love and respect for the person themselves. Anything else is like little post-it notes.
Are you okay being in a relationship with someone who seeks sex from another partner?
A good friend of mine is asexual and has been married for almost 2 years. There is hope. You just have to take the time to find the right partner. Dude, there are many other asexual people in the world. I'm willing to bet there are things like dating apps or that kind of stuff that are specifically made for asexuals. It's definitely possible to find someone.
Seeing a lot of peeps here saying no, and I get it. But I just chime in and say that I definitely would. I'm not ace myself, but I don't care much for sex or fantasize about it very often. It is not important to me.
It's called friendship at that point, I believe. Lol, but for real I think it'll be hard. Most PPL want intimacy or affection in a way that leans towards the possibility of fooling around or kissing. It's in humans' nature. You do you and try not to expect PPL to get into a serious relation with you for anything non-friendship related. But that's just one person's opinion, so you might find a person who doesn't want sex or intimacy ever. I just think that's what great friends are for. One of the things anyway. If you have a slutty Siamese twin, then yes. My wife of 27 years lost interest in sex due to depression and medication, but we still have a strong relationship after over 10 years with only occasional sex, and none the last 5 years. I miss and sometimes crave some intimacy, but even a close cuddle will get me so turned on. I have to separate from her in order to not try to escalate things she does not want. My only sex is masturbation, which I've used to cope. But I miss sex. Now I'm depressed. It sucks, but I manage, which is what you have to do in a marriage.
I wouldn't mind as long as we go on trips to the mountains, national parks, beaches, rivers, lakes, etc., so we can still have a fun time.
Actually, if you're willing to allow your partner to find outside stimulation, and as long as nothing comes of it. My wife and I had a few discussions on what would happen if all of a sudden either of us could perform sex, and we agreed. Rules would be not at home, and don't talk about it, and don't bring your partners around.
I am demisexual, and while I don't have a particular big sex drive, I still want to have intimacy with my husband. So demisexual falls off the board, too. So, yes, looking for another ace might be the goal here.
I've had one partner that the relationship got boring because I didn't like the idea of him wanting sex. I grew apart. BCI got uncomfortable, but that's a problem caused by me alone. I think it's possible for an asexual and sexual person to have a healthy relationship, but it may actually be better to just get a partner who is also asexual.
Sexual intimacy is not something I care for really. There are people out there, but as someone else said, it's probs best to find another asexual. Yes, I would have a relationship with an asexual person. Mostly because I know you don't need to have sex in a relationship, it's more of an option.